News Radio KMAN weather.
Right now in Manhattan, 67 degrees with mostly sunny skies and wind gusting as high as 24 miles per hour out of the northwest, blowing pretty steadily at 9. Tonight, clear in a low around 40 as we head to tomorrow. Sunny skies and a high near 70. Mostly clear in a low around 41 tomorrow night. Moving ahead to Thursday, sunny with a high near 68. A 50% chance of showers on Thursday night. That gets bumped up to 70%. Also, a chance for thunderstorms. We're getting set for the game next on News Radio KMAN.
KMAN Daily Weather is presented by Fox Business Systems. How much does downtime cost you and your business? Don't let another second go by. Call Fox Business Systems at 776-1452.
The following is an exclusive presentation of News Radio KMAN, your home for K-State athletics. It's game time. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
We got a full 2 hours today on The Game. We got a full 2 hours tomorrow and Thursday as well. And these next two shows are going to be some special ones. Welcome into The Game. I'm Cole Betchendorf, Mitch Fortner right now live from Kansas City, Missouri for Big 12 Media Days. Today, women's basketball. Tomorrow, men's basketball. So we will have plenty of content coming your way, and Mitch will get into that at the end of this first segment. But first things first, we want to check in with the man himself who's down there with Tim Everson, Toby Hamas of the Manhattan Mercury. Mitch Fortner is down there in KC-Mo, I believe right now at the T-Mobile Center. I heard they've been having some troubles with connectivity, but I believe we've got him on the horn right now. Mitch, first things first, can you hear me right now as we speak?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
We can. We got the connection good going through the center. What have been some of your takeaways from Big 12 Media Days so far?
Well, shoddy phone reception has been one, and it's kind of funny because this is the T-Mobile Center. I don't have T-Mobile, but I think we're okay now. We're connected to the internet. Really, sights and sounds have been a lot of mascots, a lot of coaches, a lot of players walking by Radio Row as they're heading out to the podium there at the inside the arena. I'm right now in the backstage area is what you would call it here at the T-Mobile Center. I've spoken to a lot of K-State players, talked to Jeff Mittie, which you'll hear back coming up at about 5:10, but also earlier today. As a matter of fact, his office is about 15 steps away from where I'm sitting right now. I can see the sign that says Commissioner's Office. I've seen Brett Yormark 20,000 times today, walk back and forth. He's on his cell phone all the time. Look, the guy's moving and shaking. He's doing a little bit of business. He is always busy, but he did speak to the media earlier today, and I thought, Cole, this is where we should actually lead off by just kind of recapping Brett Yormark. Today, yes, was Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Day. I thought this was the best media turnout for women's basketball. By the way, spoiler alert, they're going to have the same basketball court as they did last year for the Big 12 tournament. It's got the Big 12, the Roman numerals all over the floor. It's real trippy to me. It gives me a headache. It's like staring at like a fluorescent light flickering. It's pretty annoying. And I asked Terrence Ives actually about that earlier today. You'll hear her answer coming up later in hour number one about that floor and what it's like for the players, if it makes an effect on them or not. But Brett Yormark, little afternoon, did speak to the media on a number of topics, and it's a number of topics we really kind of haven't heard about in a while. It really, some are just kind of, we're just kind of here right now. Nothing has really moved. For example, the college football playoff. And the last we heard over the summer was that, look, Tony Petitti and the Big Ten, they want, them to have 4 automatic qualifiers. The SEC have 4 automatic qualifiers. The Big 10, the Big 12 and ACC get 2. And the SEC was on board for that for a while, and then they're not on board with that. And they're kind of with everybody else, and now it's just the Big Ten kind of hanging around. But remember, the Big Ten and the SEC still have a lot of power about the future of the college football playoff. But Brett Yormark just reminding everybody that the Big 12 still wants the 5+11. Brett Yormark is in favor of expanding the college football playoff. He is in favor of doing it before December 1st, the deadline, or else next year is just going to be a rollover year of our current format. And he wants the same amount of automatic qualifiers for everybody. And my former colleague, former host of this show, John Kurt, spoke with him earlier today. We shot the breeze for a little bit, and he told me he wanted to ask Brett Yormark about would the Big 12 be interested if it was on the table that everybody, as in all the powers, had the same automatic qualifiers, but it was more than 2, like a 3 or 4, and everybody had the same amount? He would be in favor of that. My thought there is, though, there's no way you just settled in at 16. I mean, you're going to have to probably go a little bit further than that. You'll have the teams getting buys, I'm sure, at that point with another expansion. I think that would be hard to pull off, but Brett Yormark would be interested in hearing that argument about why that would work. Because let's remember, Brett Yormark is a businessman. Big reason for expansion, that's a lot more money into the college football playoff. That's more money, down the road. Certainly that the TV providers, advertisers would be spending on coverage and for the media rights. And I am another person that is definitely in favor of expanding the college football playoff. I think I agree with Brett Yormark. I agree with pretty much everybody else that I like the number 16. And I want the integrity of college football intact, though, right? I've always been talking about keep the integrity alive, or else you could really ruin the sport by watering it down, make it mean less in the regular season if you have a couple of conferences that have more automatic qualifiers than others. But I'm fully wanted to stay at just 1 per. I think you go more than that, it's just an absolute invitational. Next, speaking of expansion, the other topic that was brought up with Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, is expansion of the NCAA tournament. Now, this is also a conversation that's been going on for quite some time. Where we're at now with the format, 68 teams, that expanded in 2011. We're now approaching 15 years with that format. I think everybody likes it. But again, there's more money to be made, especially in the future of the NCAA tournament, and that's the thoughts from Brett Yormark. He is also in favor of expanding the NCAA tournament. Now, that is something I've really gone back and forth on. I understand the economic reasons, the money-making reasons. I think more so for the future because the current deals when it comes to the media rights and how it's divvied up among the teams, really, it's kind of already set in stone for now, but there is going to be money to be made if they were to do it sooner rather than later before the new media rights deal. Yes, there would be more money for the conferences. It would be minimum at this point. Probably a much bigger jump, though, once the next media rights deal is done for the NCAA tournament. But with the expansion, if it's to 72 or 76 teams, the teams that would be getting in those spots, bubble teams, and they're most likely from power conferences. So it's more money for the power conferences. A fraction of what it could be in the future, what would be right now if they were to expand. But right now, that's Brett Yormark said that's an NCAA decision. It absolutely is. Of course, the commissioners, the conferences are going to give their 2 cents. Here comes Brett Yormark actually walking by right now. Looks like he's going to take off for the day. And I waved. He didn't see me. That's okay. But anyway, I've been really back and forth on the NCAA tournament because, look, if you look at the Big 12, for example, the Big 12 is a great example. The best conference in America, right? In college basketball, men's college basketball, and the women's tournament would expand as well if they do that right now. Probably Big 12 in women's basketball, probably 3rd in the pecking order for the major conferences. But if you look at the Big 12 right now, it's not crazy to see a losing team. And when I say losing team, a losing team in conference play. You're seeing that a lot getting to the NCAA tournament. It looked like the SEC last year, multiple teams with a losing record in conference play, just based on strength of schedule, how tough their conference is, and whatever propaganda is also being thrown down your throats by ESPN. That's impacting who's getting selected, of course, and you're seeing teams that probably don't deserve to get into the NCAA tournament get in. I mean, I don't think we really need teams that are 7-11 in their conference compete for a national championship. But there is some interest, though, with seeing these bubble teams face off for the last spots of the NCAA tournament and basically expanding the first 4. And we already have multiple sports that have postseasons that stretch a month plus. So what would be another one? Plus, I love where the NCAA tournament format is right now. I think the format is perfect. The bracket size is perfect. It's a good-looking bracket on a piece of white paper that you get a fill out every year. I think if you add to it, it's going to kind of throw off maybe some of the fun that people have with filling out those brackets every year. I could be wrong about that. but we'll see. I fully expect at some point this tournament is going to expand as soon as the 2027 season. A couple of the other notes here from Brett Yormark. Very happy about the partnerships with CBS and TNT by bringing basketball, Big 12 basketball, of course, on TNT, Big 12 football with K-State and KU playing on TNT this Saturday at 11 a.m. That was another thing that Yormark said earlier today. When it comes to the other news that the Big 12 has talked about for a while now, private equity, the investment of private equity. The Big Ten has already backed off. That was a headline not long ago. Brett Yormark said, this really isn't for us. And I think a lot of people that understand what that is, basically selling some stakes in the conference to get some investment money. Not a great idea. Typically doesn't work out for a whole lot of people, especially, dealing with people overseas, things like that. Yeah, it looks like that is not going to happen. To me, that is good news. And then the last thing, and I'll wrap up with this here, Cole, is that Brett Yormark in the Big 12 say they're in support of the SCORE Act. The SCORE Act has to do with name, image, and likeness. For those that don't know, basically the wording is, it has to do with state laws in NIL. So the SCORE Act, it's a federal bill. It's called the Student Compensation and Opportunity Through Rights and Endorsements Act. The wording is basically designed to create a national standard for college athletics and address issues like name, image, and likeness deals. It aims to replace state-by-state NIL rules with a single federal framework, preserve the educational mission of college sports, and prevent student athletes from being considered employees of the universities. Key provisions include standardizing NIL regulations, mandating certain benefits for student athletes, such as health and degree completion assistance, and regulating agents with cap fees. A lot of states have different NIL rules than other states, like Florida, for example. They have all their student athletes go through courses to be educated on name, image, and likeness and things like that. There are some states that don't allow student athletes to have NIL deals with certain companies or entities. A big part of the SCORE Act is to eliminate those rules. Have everybody throughout the country going by the same rules. That's to eliminate the Wild West image of name, image, and likeness. But there are some bad parts. People think about the SCORE Act. There would be no employee status, collective bargaining as well. The most significant point probably of the extension is the bill's explicit prohibition against classifying college athletes as employees. It wouldn't allow the student athletes to unionize, collective bargaining, things like that. Plus, there'd be some restrictions on name, image, and likeness. What this bill could definitely have, it would restrict payments from booster collectives, and it could 100% limit what a student athlete could make in any level of NIL. Doesn't matter where the money is coming from. This bill could limit how much a student athlete makes across the board. Plus, there would be limited transfer rights. Basically, a player could transfer one time, and that's it. And there's a lot of student athletes that don't like some of these rules. There's some coaches that don't like some of these rules. But the Big 12 says they're in favor, but they're going to approach everything with caution. So that was pretty much it, Cole, from Brett Yormark today. A lot of interesting things. I'm sure we'd like to know more about the college football playoff expansion because it sounds like, and Brett Yormark brought this up, that really hasn't been a whole lot of talk about that recently with the commissioners. Maybe it's going on behind closed doors, but my guess is I'm not sure because, the deadline is December 1st. Wouldn't be shocked if nothing gets done this year and they're perfectly happy with just rolling it over another year, Cole, with 12 teams. For the 2026 playoff.
I'll tell you what, Mitch, I was getting some deja vu / PTSD to the mini segments that we put our attention towards the CFP because there was a lot of headlines over the course of the summer, and it always seemed to basically be a regurgitation of what we had already heard, whether it's, the Big Ten wants this, the SEC wants this, and these two entities can't meet on this, and then it's kind of the Big 12 and the ACC, like, yeah, we'll kind of do whatever, but this, again, for Brett Yormark, just kind of reiterating the thoughts that he's already given in the past, where it's you don't want to just make it a bunch of automatic qualifiers, and you don't want it to be a disproportionate amount of qualifiers for the different conferences. You don't want it to be the 4-4, 2-2, 1-1-1, whatever that model was, where it's the 4 Big Ten and the 4 SEC, and then the ACC and the Big 12 are just left fighting for the leftover scraps afterwards. So I'm right with them on that. If you can somehow convince the Big Ten and the SEC to let the quote-unquote little guys to have a seat at the table, then by all means. I mean, if you can get 3 Big 12 teams guaranteed in the playoff every year, even if that means an even more expanded playoff, I would be for that to a certain extent. I do think you need to be careful with diluting the college football playoff down too far to where it just becomes... I mean, think about the NFL playoffs where it's 14 teams. You're at 12 right now. You get any further than 16, and you're looking at what just becomes kind of a silly playoff, unless it's like 24 teams with like a play-in, essentially, like a first 4 kind of situation for playing into the first round of the playoffs. I don't know exactly what that would look like. I'm kind of okay with 16 being as far as it goes, but seeing the pattern that's been established in the past, these people love money, and there's a lot of money to be had in this conversation, so get as many teams in there as you can is basically what I think they're thinking to themselves, and get as many teams from our conference into the playoff as we can. And I think right now, if it was 24, it'd be like 10 SEC teams in there based on the AP Top 25 poll. So I'm with Brett Yormark. If you can get guaranteed spots for the Big 12 without giving up a ton more power to the Big 10 and SEC, which has been the main thing that's been proposed thus far in the conversations, I'd be okay with that. Then you go on to March Madness. I've always been kind of against the expansion. I think it's at a pretty good number right now, but the one thing I would say is if we could eliminate the first 4 games where it's 2 conference champions of the lower conferences battling it out for a spot in March Madness, I would be for that. I think teams that make a run and get into March Madness by winning their conference tournament should have that spot. I don't think they should then have to win another game on top of that. So if you turn the first 4 into a first 12 or whatever that would be and just make it a bunch of bubble teams duking it out, I honestly would be okay with that. If it was, last year where it was, I believe it was West Virginia that was trying to take legal action because they were not involved in March Madness, have them play. I don't remember what the other team was that was at the very end, but maybe it was like Syracuse or someone like that last year that got in at the very tail end, or maybe it was North Carolina after they struggled, and having those teams duke it out and not taking like the Alabama States of the world away and just giving them their chance to be in March Madness, even though a lot of them are going to lose in the first round. I still want to see those teams get their chance to shine in March Madness. And then for the other stuff, I think you covered it. I don't really have a ton of thoughts on like the Score Act or anything, but those are my 2 takes on both the CFP and expansion for March Madness.
Well, it's topics we could debate for hours. Maybe we could do that down the road. I'm not too interested in doing that right now. Another thing that Brett Yormark was hired. He's a businessman. He was hired to make business decisions for this conference and keep this conference, where it should be, and money is a gigantic, major, humongous part of that. And when Brett Yormark wants to make decisions about the conference, he's thinking dollars and cents. I know a lot of people don't like games going overseas, especially K-State losing a home game to Ireland, losing that game. I mean, a lot of that didn't make a whole lot of K-State fans too happy unless you traveled and you had a good time in Ireland, but you're going to see more of that because Brett Yormark is interested in maximizing media rights and money making when it comes to games overseas. We're going to see Baylor women's basketball compete in Paris, open up their season, and look for K-State in the future. Jeff Mittie and Jerome Tang, I'm sure they'd be very interested in playing a game in Europe because look how much they've been recruiting this last class out of Europe, and I'm sure that's not going to be ending anytime soon. So that'd be a big opportunity for recruiting. But anyway, Cole, we got to take a break, but I do want to say real quick, coming up here on the game, a lot here from Big 12 Media Day on the women's side. In hour number 2, women's basketball coach Jeff Mittie. Very cool conversation I had earlier today with women's basketball coordinator of officials, Patty Broderick. She was awesome. Nastja Clausen from Belgium, you'll hear in our second hour. But here in our first hour, Isela Arenas, the daughter of Gilbert Arenas. And coming up next, guard Taryn Sides. Cole, every one of these conversations was a fantastic time, and I hope you all enjoy them today.
Mitch, great to check in with you here in hour number one, and I for one, look very much forward to listening to all the interviews that you got done today, and especially for tomorrow as well. Going to be a loaded 2 days of shows. Again, Mitch in Kansas City at the Big 12 Media Days today, the women's basketball side of the Big 12, and tomorrow, men's basketball. Well, with that, we owe you a break. We will get into the rest of the show after these words. We got plenty of interviews coming your way. That's after the break on News Radio KMAN.
Game on. Tweet the game, KMAN. Or call 537-1350 and get in touch with the show. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
This Saturday is the Sunflower Showdown in Lawrence as K-State looks for its 17th straight victory over the Kansas Jayhawks. Kickoff is set for 11 a.m. That means PowerCat Game Day, the biggest pregame show in the Big 12, will begin at 7 a.m. PowerCat Game Day is brought to you by Prairie Land Partners, Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Center, Culver's, and the McCain Performance Series. Listen to PowerCat Game Day on 101.5 KROC, News Radio KMAN, and online at PowerCatGameDay.com.
In Manhattan, building community means more than bricks and beams. It means innovation and partnership. At McCown Gordon Construction, we deliver feature-focused solutions to projects that shape our region. From advanced research labs to vibrant education, healthcare, and community hubs. We're not just building projects, we're building the future of the Flint Hills with unmatched customer experience and value-driven strategies. We're building for tomorrow. Visit kansas.mccown-gordon.com.
Hello, Manhattan. I'm Jamie Minton, and I'm running for Manhattan City Commission. I believe in a Manhattan where businesses grow, families thrive, and our economy is strong. I'm committed to making Manhattan more investment-friendly, simplifying processes, and making decisions that create smart growth and empower our future. I look forward to continuing to serve this community and bring a positive impact to Manhattan. I'd be honored to earn your vote. On November 4th, vote for progress, accountability, and community. Vote Minton for Manhattan. Paid for by Minton for Manhattan, Kevin Lowell, Treasurer.
This fall, Roberts Heating and Cooling wants to honor a veteran in need. Nominate your hometown hero, someone who's made a difference as a soldier and in your community. Each Friday, one will be named Hometown Hero of the Week, winning K-State football tickets from Manhattan Broadcasting, an oil change from Briggs, a $50 R.C. McGraw's gift card, and a t-shirt from Roberts Heating and Cooling. Weekly winners qualify for a full champion furnace and AC replacement, announced on Veterans Day. Nominate now at 1350kman.com. Just click the Hometown Heroes logo. Brought to you by Roberts Heating and Cooling and News Radio KMAN. Restrictions apply. Homeowners only. Equipment must be installed at primary residence and is non-transferable.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. There's no shortage of marquee openings in college football. Florida, Oklahoma State, and of course Penn State. There are jobs that come with a massive paycheck, but high expectations. For all their allure, there's a lesson that should be echoed through the coaching fraternity. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. Just ask Brian Kelly. He left Notre Dame after a decade of sustained excellence, a national title appearance, and 7 double-digit win seasons. Since arriving at LSU, his Tigers have been fine but not fantastic. No playoff berths, a 5-9 record against ranked opponents. Lincoln Riley's move from Oklahoma to USC told a similar story. 3 12-win seasons in Norman, a Cotton Bowl title, and playoff contention that gave way to mediocrity in Los Angeles. No double-digit win season since 2022. As coaches like Lane Kiffin and Marcus Freeman inevitably get those phone calls this season, they would be wise to remember all of this. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.
Quiet down, here she comes. Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication, report scams, and update your software. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information and fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your protection today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
I'm Cole Betchendorf with the Game Sports Update brought to you by Bottle Cap Sports Bar. K-State football head coach Chris Kleiman previewed the 123rd Sunflower Showdown at his weekly press conference Monday as the 3-4 Wildcats get ready to head east to face the 4-3 Kansas Jayhawks on Saturday. The year after graduating a large class that saw KU have its 3 best seasons since 2008, the KU offense has still been high-flying, thanks in large part to senior Jalen Daniels at quarterback.
It all starts with Daniels. I've been really, really impressed with him for a number of years now. I have so much respect for how he plays, and you can tell he's the leader of the whole group. He's played really well. The Texas Tech game, that happens, but he stayed in the fight. I think that's the thing that would impress me the most is he stayed in the fight.
The game kicks off at 11 a.m. this Saturday with Powercat Game Day coverage beginning at 7 on News Radio KMAN, 101.5 K-Rock, and online at PowerCatGameDay.com. Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark said Tuesday that he is in favor of expanding the NCAA tournament and the college football playoff, though he remains cautious about how exactly 2 of college sports' premier events will look in the future. Big 12 Commissioner believes there is momentum for an expanded football playoff, which has already grown from 4 teams to 12 this past season. Back on the game, Cole Dutchendorf with you, taking you the rest of the way, but Mitch Fortner doing a bulk of the heavy lifting as we're going to be going through some of the interviews that he had the pleasure of hosting earlier in the day at Big 12 Media Days today on the women's basketball side of things. Before we send it to him and his conversation with Taryn Sides earlier today, so obviously Ask Us Anything is tough to do solo, so I wonder if you guys can do me the favor of texting the phone line at 785-537-1350, and we can do a little Ask Me Anything. Put your name, where you're from. I'll give you a shout-out. If you give me a question to go over, we'll just turn it into an Ask Me Anything at the end of Hour 2, of course, if we have time. Again, that's our line at 785-537-1350. But for right now, I'm going to send it back to Mitch. And again, his conversation with the only returning women's basketball player who got minutes last season, Taryn Sides.
All right, we're with Taryn Sides at Big 12 Media Days. Can you believe you're the veteran of the group? You're the one returning with definitely the most experience. Does that feel weird at all?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely feels weird because, I'm only 20, but I'm one of the oldest ones on the team, and I still feel like I just got to K-State, so it's kind of crazy. It's my junior year 3.
Said you're only 20. When's your birthday?
May.
Oh, so you were late for your class.
Yep.
Huh? You're one of the youngest.
Yep.
When it comes to grade school, high school, all that stuff. You had the late birthday. Tell me just right now the general vibe of this team, being with a new crew, learning a lot of new names and playing styles. What's that been like?
Yeah, I think it's been a lot of excitement around the gym. Just with the new team, it's exciting to have almost a fresh start, a new experience. My past 2 years, we've had 2 very similar teams, which is great. Had a lot of fun with them, but I'm also excited for this next chapter with these new girls. And I think just learning how to play with one another and getting our connection down both on and off the court will help us in the long run.
You have had legendary roommates. If I remember correctly, you once lived with Yoki and then Serena, right?
Yeah, me and Yoki were roommates every road trip, both my freshman and sophomore year. And then I lived with Serena last year.
How often do you go see Yoki now that she works for K-State?
I talked to her about, once or twice a week. We were just texting today saying we need to go get lunch tomorrow, something together, because it's been a while since we've hung out. She's an adult now. She's a busy girl, and I feel like our schedules are kind of opposite. But I talk to Serena every day, even though she's in Australia, so we stayed connected.
I'm losing track of Serena. I don't know where she's at half the time. I feel she's been all over, not just the WNBA, but international opportunities as well. Does Yoki come around, practice or anything, say hi?
Yeah, she's been there a couple times. She works for K-State now, so she's been in our building a few times throughout the summer and this fall.
Well, you got an interesting role, of course, in this upcoming season, and it's already been asked a couple of times to Coach Mittie about your leadership, I suppose. Like, it's, since you're a returner, you're an upperclassman, you're expected to be some sort of leader. But you and him both said you're more of a lead by example. So you're not the rah speech type of teammate? Like you're not giving the speech in the locker room before you head out there?
No, not usually. I'll say a few words, give my input, but I think I'm more of the, like you said, lead by example. But I think when I can get riled up and when my competitiveness comes out, I can get on someone. And it's just not my first go-to.
Has anybody else's leadership, like in the past years, rubbed off on you? Like how maybe Yoki would do something or Serena or somebody?
Yeah, I would say Yoki's leadership she was more of the rah-rah. She would get after us. But
it's kind of hard to believe, honestly.
Yeah, she had her moment. She's a super chill girl, but she reads Coach Mittie really well, so she'll get on us before he does, I think. And then Serena's more of the chill, calm, lead by example, but also make sure we're doing what we need to do.
Speaking of practicing with all the new players, last few years with just everybody coming back, maybe it's easier than most years. Has just everybody getting acclimated and being at practice and kind of running through everything, has it been kind of a different start to the year already?
Yeah, I would say our summer workouts were different than the past 2 years I was here. This year we played a lot more 5-on-5, like right away, so that we could get used to playing with each other. I think the past 2 years was more individual skill work, trying to improve ourselves. But like when we were in the gym together, we were playing and trying to learn each other. So I say that part was different for sure.
What do you expect your role to be this season? Is it still the typical role? Could you play the 1, the 2, both?
Yeah, I think I'll play a little bit of both. We have Isela. She's a really good point guard, just quick with the ball in her hands. And then Gina Garcia, she's been pretty good this summer and this fall. She's continuing to learn and grow. But yeah, I think I'll play a little bit of 1 and 2. I kind of like the option of playing off ball too, so that I can run off the sets and stuff.
Who has the funniest accent?
Probably Gina. I like her.
Is she easy to understand? I know. Just talked to Nasha not too long ago. She's actually got a pretty clear accent. She's not hard to understand. That was a little surprising. But Gina and Tess.
Yeah. Tess does have a little accent to her still. Beck, she kind of lost hers while she was here, her Australian accent. But Tess is still there. I think they kind of surprised me when they first came over here, Gina and Nas, because I didn't know how fluent their English would be. But Nas is pretty fluent, and then Gina's learning, but I can understand her.
Who's the teammate that's chasing you to be like the best 3-point shooter?
Definitely Jordan, Spicer.
Oh, sure.
Yes. She'll be good. She can shoot that thing from anywhere on the court, so I'm excited for her.
I know you guys on road trips will do the half-court shots. I know you really haven't been anywhere yet, but are you doing that kind of stuff at practice? And is she good at that kind of stuff?
We actually haven't done that. Usually at the end of practice, if I have a ball in my hand and Coach Mittie's half court, I'll shoot it while I'm going up there. But we've never away trips when they had the line and see who can make it first. We haven't done that yet.
We're at Big 12 Media Days. They have the floor out here that was played on last year with the Big 12 logo everywhere. I remember watching it on TV, and it was kind of hard on the eyes. As a player, did it make a difference?
See, I was wondering that as well. But when I stepped on the court, I feel like I didn't notice it. But I think watching it on TV, it was definitely harder to look at than in person.
I feel like it's kind of trippy.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your game for a second. I know it's not easy to talk about yourself, but what's the next level for Taryn Sides?
Yeah, I think my freshman year was a lot about passing and finding open teammates. And then last year was just having my feet ready to shoot at any point in time. With Serena and Yogi and the girls last year, they made it easy because all the gravity would come to them, so they'd leave me wide open a couple times. But I think this year I want to grow in all areas of my game. I want to get into that mid-range game, try and get to the basket and just create for my teammates. And then defensively, I want to be better than I was the past 2 years.
You know, we've mentioned a ton of time that this is a pretty new team. Haven't seen this in Jeff Mittie's era. But I remember in the offseason, specifically for you, there were some rumors that you were going to leave or going to the transfer portal. People freaked out. Was those rumors true for a second, or did you ever think about leaving, or are you K-State all the way?
I've always wanted to play at K-State. This is like my childhood dream, so it would have been very, very hard for me to leave. I've always wanted to play here, so I'm excited.
All right, well, I'm excited for this season. By the way, the exhibition against Minnesota, how'd you feel like? I've been asking everybody just how do you feel like that went with like the first time playing against somebody else with this team?
Mm-hmm. I think it went okay. You can tell we're young, and that was the first game for like 90% of our roster. So I think for our first game, it was good. We obviously have a lot to improve on. I think our rebounding, I bet Coach Mittie brought that up. I think we play best when we're in the full court, so we're going to have to rebound so we can get out and run.
Is there one big difference from this team than last year?
I would just say I think this year we're more guard-oriented. Last year, I mean, when you have an All-American center, of course you're going to play through her, but yeah, I think guard-heavy this year.
All right, Taryn, really appreciate it. Good luck this season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That was K-State guard Taryn Sides with Mitch Fortner today earlier at the Big 12 Media Days. That's where Mitch is right now in Kansas City, probably getting some dinner at some barbecue joint. I'm jealous because, man, Kansas City barbecue, not much like it. We still have a few more interviews to come here over the course of this show. Up next, it'll be Isela Arenas, the daughter of Agent Zero, Gilbert Arenas. That's still to come here in hour number 1. And still on the docket for hour number 2, we're going to have Jeff Mittie, as per usual, as well as the Big 12 Women's Basketball Coordinator of Officials, Patty Broderick. And Mitch said that the conversation that he had with Patty was a good one and an insightful one. So I'm interested, I'm intrigued to hear the conversation that those two had. And then also the last player for today, Nastya Claessens. I think I got that one right. She's from Europe. That's the K-State forward who they got late in the recruitment cycle in the transfer portal. I don't know if you call it a transfer portal when you come out of Europe. Not sure exactly the terminology to use there, but that'll also be still to come in hour number 2. And again, my request for you, text 785-537-1350 for an Ask Us Anything name and your question, maybe your own answer if you want to even more of a shout out, and we'll do an Ask Me Anything potentially if we get enough answers, if we have enough time in hour number 2. But again, next we got Isela Arenas on the game. That's next on News Radio KMAN.
Your home for K-State sports.
Wildcat fans, I know I'm wearing the Heat jersey right now, but I bleed purple. Well, not really, it's red, but you kind of, figure of speech, you know what I mean? Welcome to Madness in Manhattan.
This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
My name is Heidi Dixon. Mom, Jackie Wolf, was the patient of interim hospice. I live in Texas, and after Mom got on hospice, when I came back to Texas, interim was a huge lifeline for me in terms of information. Maria, the social worker, was a dream. Going every other week, sharing a picture and what Mom was doing and what was she saying and what was she looking forward to. And she brought us right into the room with Mom. And she said when she was planning to go next, and as a hospice worker in Texas, I was asking our social workers, are we doing this? This is amazing. She was so engaged with Mom and so connected the dots for us. That was invaluable. Aside from Mom's increasing comfort with the pain management provided by hospice, the social work connection and support, those were the two most visible benefits that I continue to be exceedingly grateful for.
We care, we're there, interim healthcare.
Hi, I'm Jim Morrison, and I'm running for Manhattan City Commissioner. In my opinion, it's time to change the Commission's focus to control the city budget so any tax increases are tax neutral within a balanced budget. We need stronger fiscal accountability, better communication with citizens, and to focus on needs over wants. Let's fix and maintain our streets first and hold new projects until they can be funded without raising property taxes. Paid for by Morrison for City Commission, Treasurer Mark Konaknoff.
WTC Fiber Internet is coming to all of Manhattan, bringing you blazing fast, reliable internet from your local provider. No contracts, no overage fees, and no installation costs. Whether you're streaming, working from home, gaming, or running a business, enjoy uninterrupted high-speed internet. Reserve your connection today at WTCKS.com. That's WTCKS.com. Fast, local, reliable. WTC Fiber Internet.
Hi, I'm Mike Ham with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Week 7 of the NFL season came to an end with a Monday night doubleheader. In the nightcap, the Seahawks survived 4 turnovers to beat the Texans 27-19. Jackson Smith-Njigba had his 3rd straight 100-yard receiving game, catching 8 balls for $123 and a score. In the first game, the Lions, led by Jahmyr Gibbs, 2 touchdowns, 218 total yards, beat the Bucs 24-9. Tampa didn't just lose the game, they also lost wide receiver Mike Evans, who suffered a broken clavicle. He'll miss most of the season, according to the team. NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero is reporting Carolina's Bryce Young will miss Sunday's showdown with the Bills after spraining his ankle in Week 7 over the Jets in that win. And Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels avoided serious injury to that hamstring, according to Dan Quinn. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me, like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
News Radio, KMAN, weather.
Right now in Manhattan, 67 degrees with mostly sunny skies, wind gusting as high as 24 miles per hour out of the northwest and blowing pretty steadily at 9 miles per hour. Tonight, clear with a low around 40 as we head to tomorrow, sunny with a high near 70. Tomorrow night, mostly clear in a low around 41. Another beautiful day on Thursday with sunny skies and a high near 68. 50% chance of precipitation on Thursday night. That gets bumped up to 70% for Friday. Wrapping up hour 1 on the game. And again, it's Mitch doing a bulk of the lifting as he has a conversation in store for us with Isela Arenas, the daughter of Gilbert Arenas, former Washington Wizard. Don't know if he played really anywhere else, but man, he was a bucket. And that's kind of what the word on the street is for Isela as well. So here is Mitch's conversation with Miss Arenas.
Isela Arenas, welcome to Big 12 Media Days. What's been your favorite activity around here so far?
My favorite activity has been seeing the puppies. I got to hold all of them, which was really nice. I want to buy one. And definitely the makeup bar. It was really nice and cute.
Well, we got a big season ahead, and you're a new Wildcat. First year was at Louisville. You played a lot of minutes. You averaged about 4 points per game, and I feel like you really have that untapped potential that's just ready to burst here at K-State. So what would you tell the K-State fans about what your game is all about, what you know about yourself as a player, and where you're wanting to go with your playing ability?
I think I'm a very versatile player. Again, with my name, it's always the offense. But honestly, I tapped into the defense throughout my years and playing with and against boys when I was younger. I feel like I've gotten my defense a little bit better. So definitely defense. This summer I've been working on my role of being a leader and definitely my mid-range. So, yeah.
Well, Coach said earlier during the press conference there in front of everybody in the arena that you like to get up at 5 a.m. and be at the gym. Is that a fact?
That is a fact. Every day, Monday through Friday, I get up at 4:45 to go to the gym.
So you get up, you get right out of bed, you put some shoes on, you're gone.
Yes, gone. Don't even brush my teeth.
Okay, so how many hours then? You get there at 5 o'clock. How many hours are you at the gym?
Honestly, not that much. It doesn't really take that much to get up a lot of shots. It only takes around 40 to an hour.
Okay.
So around that time.
So then after you get done with classes and practice, are you still in the gym shooting?
Yes, or I'm asleep because I'd be tired.
Is that your favorite hobby, to sleep?
Yes, sleep and watch Disney movies.
What's the go-to Disney movie?
Oh, my God.
Do you have Disney Plus?
Yes, I do.
What do you think, if Disney Plus were to tell you this is what you watch the most, what do you think that would be?
They would definitely tell me either Tangled or Luca.
Do you like any the old Disney movies like Fox and the Hound?
I was just watching Fox and the Hound 1 and 2.
That's my favorite.
Yes, 2 weeks ago. Cinderella 1, 2, and 3. The Little Mermaid 1, 2, and 3.
Who's your roommate?
I don't have a roommate.
Oh, wow. So you get to live by yourself, so you can watch as many movies as you want.
Yes.
What would the teammates, as you've gotten to know them, what would they say that they know about you, what your personality is like?
That's very interesting. They think I'm really funny. They think I'm a clumsy person. I'm always falling. And probably just I just love being by myself. And I'm always in my own world.
Well, who of you feel like you've clicked with the most on the team? Either on the floor, in practice, you guys just have chemistry. You guys really relate to each other. Who comes to mind on this team?
Oh, absolutely Tess Hill. When I first met her, we clicked instantly on and off the court. She's a really good player to work with. And we just understand each other's game.
Tell me more about the guards on this team. It really feels like this backcourt can be really special. Who else just stands out to you as being a really great player?
Oh, definitely my teammate Nastia. She's a versatile player. She could play defense. She could be outside. She could post up. She's a very good teammate to work with. She's a great cutter, and she has really good IQ.
All right, so you mentioned your name earlier. I'm sure you'd figure it'd come up that your dad is Gilbert Arenas.
Yes.
I'm not really a big NBA fan, but if I know exactly who he is, that means he's somebody, right? Did you just grow up going to a lot of NBA games?
I did, but I don't remember them. But I used to look at old photos of me in my cute little outfits and my bow going to see my dad play, and that was really awesome. I remember he used to coach with is it the Big Three? The Big Three League, or is it Big Four?
Oh, yeah, Big Three.
Yeah, he coached the Big Three League, and I got to watch him coach a little bit. And that has told me that I would never be one of his players, and he would never coach me.
Well, I'm sure you get asked all the time, is your game a lot like your dad's? Would you say, you kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but the way he played, he was a point guard, he was a shooting guard, obviously a great scorer. Is that who you are?
I don't think that's who I am. I honestly think that I think my game kind of is similar to my siblings. My sister's a really good shooter. My little brother Alani, he's very versatile. He has a lot of quick moves. And then I would say I take after my other brother Elijah Arenas. He's very calm, and I love that about him.
Calm as in things get a little frustrating on the floor during a game?
He always has a game face. You don't really see him go up and down. He's just always focused.
Okay, so I take then are you not much of a talker on the floor? What I mean by that is you're not much of a trash talker? Or
I don't trash talk. I don't even know what to say. I'm just score, get back on defense.
Recently you guys had an exhibition against Minnesota. How'd that go for you guys? How'd it go for you?
I thought it went pretty good for the first time playing against other people. We definitely have a lot to work on, but that's just it with exhibition games, and I'm really excited for the season.
Is your dad going to come to games?
Yes, he is. I'm making him. Yes.
Is he live in Los Angeles?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is he doing these days then?
Podcasting, sitting on the couch, watching 90 Days of Marriage. Yeah.
Is he? Do you guys talk a lot about basketball? You guys are talking shop, especially since he's going to watch you play at K-State. He may critique a little bit. Is that typically your guys' relationship?
Yeah, he definitely tells me all the nicks and crannies of basketball and what I should do before games and who I should watch during games. But especially my mom as well. I definitely talk to her the most about basketball. She's definitely my shoulder to cry on and the person I need to talk to when it comes to basketball and all other things that come with it.
Isela Arenas is our guest here on The Game. Jeff Mittie, the head coach, he's been here for a long time. This team went to a Sweet 16 last year. How on the radar was K-State for you before you became a Wildcat?
Honestly, it wasn't on my radar. I wasn't really looking into going into the Big 12. I was more focused on trying to go back home, but one of the coaches, Stacy, called me. And I was like, why not? Let's give it a try. And when I first stepped onto Kansas Manhattan, everything changed. It felt like home. I loved the coaches and I loved the players.
It's interesting because I'm going to guess Manhattan is way different than everywhere else you've lived. Is that correct?
That is correct. But I feel like Kentucky is also weird as well. I never would have thought that I would have went to Kentucky or Kansas, but here I am.
So what's the nice thing about living in Manhattan? What do you have that maybe you didn't have any other places you lived?
Well, definitely back at home, quiet and peace. I feel like with all my siblings being in the house, it's very loud and always chaotic, so I definitely get some time to myself. Yeah.
So K-State was a spot. Why?
Was a spot?
You picked K-State. Why? What attracted you to becoming a Wildcat overall?
Oh, definitely Coach Mittie. He's a very unique coach in my opinion. I've never met anybody like him. He was very honest and really authentic, which stands out to me in any type of coach that I play with, so probably that.
All right, last thought here, identity of this team. It's a new team. Us K-State fans, we have an idea of what this could look like, but just not quite sure until it hits the floor. If there's one or two things about this team's identity, what do you think this team is going to do well this season?
Honestly, I think we're still trying to find it. I think throughout this season, if we just focus on what needs to be done, I feel like we could become a really good team. And honestly, sisterhood, I feel like we're already really close, but if we could get that last step of, being close and focusing on what needs to be done, I think we could be a really good basketball team.
All right, last thing, can I recommend a Disney movie?
Yes.
All right, actually there's a couple of them, but they're not animated.
Okay.
So one of them's Brink.
Brink.
I loved that movie as a kid. It came out the late 90s. It's a skating movie.
Okay.
I don't know if it holds up at all. You'll have to tell me. But also the movie with Tim Allen called Jungle to Jungle.
Jungle to Jungle. Okay.
It's ridiculous and it's awesome.
I will see it. Thank you.
Miss Arenas, appreciate your time. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
That was Isela Arenas, our second of five total interviews. Second. We still got 3 more to go through here in hour number 2. Jeff Mittie, top of hour number 2. Also, Big 12 women's basketball coordinator of officials Patty Broderick and K-State forward Nastia Claessens. That's all still to come here on The Game.
Miss part of the show?
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Really? Check it out on demand at 1350kman.com. You're listening to The Game on News Radio KMAN.
Whether it's game day or a night out with great live music, Bottle Cap Sports Bar delivers the atmosphere you're looking for. It's Manhattan's go-to spot for catching every Wildcats or Chiefs game and enjoying live music that plays the songs you actually know. Come early for a good seat, great music, and cold drinks served up right. Stay in the loop. Check out their Facebook page for the full schedule of events. Bottle Caps, where the music's live, the game's always on, and the vibe is just right.
Bottle Cap Sports Bar located on West Anderson across from Dairy Queen.
It's hard to understand people on TV, so you use closed caption because you can't understand or hear them. Guess what? You don't have to live like that. I know because I solved my hearing loss with the help of hearing aids from Focus Hearing, a locally owned hearing center that offers all major brands. They accept all Medicare plans and have better pricing than the national franchises. Let Focus Hearing let you hear again. 913-380-4200 or online at myfocushearing.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Morrison, and I'm running for Manhattan City Commissioner. In my opinion, it's time to change the Commission's focus to control the city budget so any tax increases are tax neutral within a balanced budget. We need stronger fiscal accountability, better communication with citizens, and to focus on needs over wants. Let's fix and maintain our streets first and hold new projects until they can be funded without raising property taxes. Paid for by Morrison for City Commission, Treasurer Mark Kanakanoff.
When severe weather rolls in, every second counts, and we're here to keep you ahead of the storm. Count on us for the latest alerts, live updates, and real-time tracking to help protect you, your family, and your property. From heavy rain and damaging winds to hail and dangerous storms, we'll guide you through the changing conditions and keep you informed when it matters most. Powered by Candlewood Veterinary Clinic, Manhattan Wrecker, Hummel Tree Service, Tallgrass Windows, and Ozone Roofing.
Join the original influencers, influencing for over 60 years, and discover how you can turn your passion for media and sales into a rewarding career. Manhattan Broadcasting is looking for creative, hardworking individuals who have a passion for helping businesses grow through traditional and digital marketing platforms. Qualified candidates should be creative, great at building relationships, and most of all, success-driven. Apply now with the top-rated media company, Manhattan Broadcasting. Send your resume to jobs@manhattanbroadcasting.com. Our client success is your success.
It's ring night in OKC. I'm Sammy Peep, here to help you beat the books with the BetMGM network. The Thunder celebrate their championship one more time tonight at home as they open it up against the Houston Rockets. This number 7 at BetMGM. I sort of lean to the dog, Kevin Durant against his old team, and I think the Rockets fight to the very end. I'm Sammy Peep from the BetMGM network. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetMGM app today, and please, gamble responsibly.
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me. Like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male. From lending options to treasury management services, KS State Bank provides innovative solutions to help your business succeed. KS State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender, KMAN, Manhattan.
CBS News Brief. Day 21 of the government shutdown and more government programs are being impacted, like SNAP. This woman in Dothan, Alabama.
Groceries are too high to be playing around with other folks' food stamps because right now, everybody's suffering.
President Trump hosted Senate Republicans at the White House today in a show of unity. Earlier, he warned Hamas that U.S. allies could deal with him if they don't abide by the peace agreement in Gaza. Reporter Robert Berger.
The idea that an international force, we're talking about an Arab-led force, including states like Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, and then other Muslim states like Turkey and Indonesia, that they would be willing to go into Gaza and disarm Hamas by force, really, you have to take that with a grain of salt.
On Wall Street today, stocks finished mixed. CBS News Brief, I'm Cammie McCormick.
Now, the latest news from the News Radio KMAN and Manhattan Mercury Newsroom.
This is your 5 p.m. news update. RCPD investigates another scam involving someone posing as an officer. The Law Board hears an update on jail capacity, and Pot County officials hear concerns about runoff from quarries. Good evening, I'm Louis Marion. Raleigh County Police say another person has fallen victim to a scammer claiming to be a police officer. The most recent incident occurred Monday evening just after 6 p.m. when a 57-year-old woman reported she was contacted by someone posing as an officer. Investigators say the scammers identified themselves as law enforcement and asked for payment for a legal matter. Police say she lost about $1,500 before discovering it was a scam. A Manhattan woman was jailed Sunday morning on a Mitchell County District Court warrant alleging past charges of drug possession. Raleigh County Police say 38-year-old Dawn Nichols was arrested in the 1300 block of Old Claflin Road. She faces charges of possession of a controlled substance, possession of marijuana, and 4 counts of use or possession with intent to use drug paraphernalia. Nichols was released from the Raleigh County Jail after posting a $10,000 bond. The Raleigh County Jail is running over capacity, and officials say the situation is only getting worse. Lieutenant Jason Deere told the Law Enforcement Agency Board Monday the jail's operational capacity is 120 inmates, though the average daily population this year is about 125. He says the facility is, quote, exceeding national standards by far. Deere says the jail is outdated and undersized for the population it manages.
I'm asking you to seriously consider expansion or relocation of the jail. Temporary measures are being explored. However, even if we begin planning now, it's years before we see any difference.
The jail's female inmate section is maxed out at 18, forcing some women to be housed in other counties. 40% of inmates are on mental health medication, putting further strain on the 24-year-old facility. County Attorney Barry Wilkerson says the courts and jails are still playing catch-up from years of backlogs and workforce shortages.
We closed the state hospitals. We don't have the hospital beds for the mentally ill that we used to have, so they're now out on the streets or in our jail. A lot of them are in jails, not just here, but throughout the state.
Despite the strain, Deere says staff are working to maintain safety and manage population levels as best they can. Monday's Potomac County Commission meeting got off to a rocky start, quite literally, as residents from Sherman Township brought up concerns about quarry runoff impacting local farms. Resident Matt Ubel shared findings showing how nearby quarries have been eroding limestone and washing sediment into area creeks.
In this process, we learned without detailed rules and guidelines within the CUP, you cannot file a complaint when events like this happen.
Water samples taken after heavy rainfall showed contamination levels at more than 80 times above what's considered safe for livestock or wildlife. He says current conditional use permits for rock quarries don't require runoff containment and rely too heavily on minimal state inspection standards. He says more local oversight, including real-time monitoring systems, is needed.
And basically what it'll do is it'll detect outflow and it'll take readings and give you a readout. So if there's a problem, we're finding it sooner than years later.
Ubel also urged county officials to rethink how quarries are taxed, noting one Sherman Township quarry generates about $12 million in business, but only pays $23,000 in road fees and $4,300 in property taxes. And finally, tonight, a 4-vehicle crash Monday evening in northern Raleigh County sent 2 people to the hospital and left 2 others with minor injuries. The Kansas Highway Patrol says it happened just before 6 p.m. at U.S. Highway 24 and West 59th Avenue, less than a mile north of the Tuttle Creek Shooting Park, after one driver rear-ended a stopped vehicle, triggering a chain reaction. According to the crash report, an eastbound vehicle struck another eastbound vehicle that was stopped and waiting to turn left at the intersection. The impact caused the striking vehicle to cross in the westbound lane where it collided with a westbound vehicle. Authorities say 76-year-old Connie Schmidt and 80-year-old David Schmidt, both in Manhattan, were injured in the crash. Both were taken to Ascension via Christie for treatment. 2 others sustained minor injuries, while 2 people walked away without any significant injury. For more news anytime, visit newsradiokman.com or themercury.com. I'm Louis Marion. Your weather forecast an hour to the game is next.
K-Man News brought to you by L&L Advisors. Local, genuine, and here for you.
News Radio KMAN weather.
Right now in Manhattan, 67 degrees with mostly sunny skies and wind gusting as high as 20 miles an hour out of the northwest, blowing pretty steadily at around 10. Tonight, clear in a low around 40. Tomorrow, sunny with a high near 70. Moving ahead to tomorrow night, mostly clear in a low around 41. Thursday, sunny with a high near 68, a 50% chance of precipitation on Thursday night, 70% chance of precipitation on Friday.
Weather on News Radio KMAN is brought to you by Sunset Zoo. Purchase your tickets for Boo at the Zoo happening the 24th through the 26th at sunsetzoo.com.
Hour 2 of the game after work. Cole Dutchendorf with you live in studio. Mitch Fortner kind of with us, not with us live, but has plenty of content recorded earlier today at Big 12 Media Day 1 with women's basketball. A lot of conversation surrounding K-State women's basketball. You can go back and listen to Hour 1 on YouTube. You can listen to it on Spotify eventually. We talked to Taryn Sides and Isela Arenas in Hour number 1, as well as heard a little bit from Brett Yormark on some of his statements made today. And still to come here in hour number 2. First up, we got Jeff Mittie, but later on, Big 12 women's basketball coordinator of officials, Patty Broderick, and then K-State forward Nastia Claessens from Europe, still in hour number 2. And then if we have anyone who hits up the text line, again, if you want to help me out, I would really appreciate it. We haven't had any texts come through. Just text 785-537-1350 with your own Ask Us Anything. And if you're new around and you don't know what Ask Us Anything looks like, just literally a question about anything, preference-wise, like an example, favorite, I don't know, hot dog condiment topping, whatever you want. Put your name and your answer to your question, and we'll do an Ask Me Anything. If not, we'll just talk like 5 minutes on the NBA kicking off on Peacock tonight, which I actually am really excited about. I know maybe 3 other listeners are excited about the NBA kicking off tonight alongside me. I don't think NBA is very popular among the crowd that listens to the game, and that's all right. We can enjoy our different things, but we will talk about that for 5 minutes if we don't get anything on Ask Us Anything. So maybe that's a threat for you who don't want to hear me talk about the NBA for a little bit. But for right now, we're going to take it back to Mitch in Kansas City, who spoke earlier with Jeff Mittie, head coach of K-State women's basketball.
Coach, good to see you. Good to see you here at Big 12 Media Days. You're suited up, and I feel like I haven't seen you in a suit in years.
Well, it's a cheat suit because you've got jeans and tennis shoes, so it's not really suited up. I wouldn't call it that.
Modern day mullet business.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, fascinating team you got here. I know we talked, what was it, last week, a lot of individual talk about this team, about the players, but you just recently had an exhibition against, I think it was Minnesota, right?
Yep.
Closed door. There was a final score going around,
Yep.
12-point loss, it sounded like, but just how did you feel like that went?
You know, there's a couple things I'd say to anybody paying attention to any scores, good or bad, is that let me just give you my philosophy on this. Anytime we're playing any close scrimmages or any exhibitions, I already know how many minutes players are going to play because I'm committed to that growth. Now, if a player doesn't give effort or they do something detrimental to the team, then they're not going to see the floor again. But we haven't had that issue. So my point to that is that the other thing that I like to do is I like to not play in a 10-minute quarter. I will tell 3 players, you're not playing in this quarter, because so that they know that that's not their quarter. And my reason for that is I want to look at certain rotations. And I want to also see players have to play through some fatigue. I want to see them have to play through mistakes. So, you know, when you look at that particular close scrimmage, we didn't play very well in the first quarter, but we didn't have Taryn Sides in that first quarter at all either. She didn't play at all in that quarter, okay? And she knew that going in. Part of the reason Taryn didn't play in that first quarter is because she's coming off of a lower leg injury, and the training staff said she'd be better off once she gets started to stay playing. So to not have that gap. So I just said, okay, well, I'd rather have her in the fourth quarter when we're going to be doing some advanced stuff. So there's all kinds of philosophies going through, and everybody's got their own. It might be more important for Team A to get momentum with a big win or something like that. In our particular case, I've got to get these players minutes. I've got to get Ramaya White minutes. I've got to get Janessa Cotton coming off of her injury last year minutes. So I'm way more concerned about us getting reps and minutes than anything else, and that's my philosophy.
With Kennedy out, not playing due to not getting that NCAA waiver, I know Ramaya White is your like the traditional 5 on the team. Nobody else is taller than 6'1". So did you try some players out at that position?
Yeah, you had Ramaya, you had Janessa, you had Brandy Harrod get minutes there. So both Janessa and Brandy are obviously going to have to play big. Janessa is strong, and she played some 5 last year at Duke before the back injury. And she's strong, but you're right, she doesn't have great size like a 6'4", 6'5". Ramaya, played limited minutes a year ago. She was able to get 16, 17, 18 minutes in this game against a really good center. And then Harrod is going to be an active player, and all of them have had good moments.
Well, so far, I mean, from talking to your players and talking about the scrimmage against Minnesota, they all said, oh, it went all right, it went okay.
Yeah.
But they didn't act like, for sure, like they're in a bad spot in any way, or it's not going to be good. Like, I would assume this group probably doesn't lack confidence.
Yeah, I think a couple things. One, they know my feelings on it is we're going into that thing to win it. So make no bones about it, we didn't do that, so that part's disappointing. But at the same time, we felt like we did enough good stuff that we could build off of, and we think we got some answers of things that we've got to do a lot better. And, this is going to be a team that I think can really grow from that scrimmage. And we got some good answers and we got some bad answers, and we'll have to figure those things out.
Yeah, the youth of this team stands out, but like you mentioned, the international players have had professional experience, FIBA experience, gold medal experience, and that's a lot of fun. I'm curious to know, like, what were the options when it comes to building this team? Because you built it up with, I call it blue chippers, untapped potential, high recruits a year or two ago, and they're young. I guess the other option could have been, hey, let's go get one of the best players in the transfer portal and try to ride from there. I'm just curious to know about the options that you thought about before building this roster.
Well, there are a lot of things that go into building a roster right now, and so finances are a part of that. The NIL is a huge picture of this, so everybody had to make roster decisions based off, in some cases, of what they were willing to invest their money in and what they could invest their money in. And so those are, but if you can't take the money out of the equation, because if, I always use this analogy, my staff's probably tired of it, but the bottle of water at Dillon's cost 75 cents. The bottle of water at the concert costs $10. Sometimes the market, you see this in pro sports, that the market is so high that you're like, well, that player's not good enough for that money, right? Or that position's not good enough. So just in the simplistic thing, the first thing we looked at is, look, we wanted to get scoring. Okay, we wanted to get some scoring. And we wanted to recruit from winning programs if we could. Okay, at best we could. We wanted to get winners. Now, we were lucky that we already had a high-level high school class put together. Okay. We also wanted to see if we could find some leaders. I think we found a good leader in Tess Heel. I think we found a player that has good experience. She had some success at Stanford. She had major success at Santa Clara. All right, so we found that. We wanted to get better off the ball screen. We felt like we had a good one in Gina Garcia. We felt like we found another one in Arenas, and she had good experience with Louisville. On the bigs, we weren't finding the production that we liked. So we took some talent, and that came with Cotton had an injury. I think if she was healthy a year ago, you'd have seen some production at Duke. So it's all over the map in terms of, you're making a choice. Do I take this center that averaged 3 points a game, or do I take a kid with a higher ceiling? I ended up choosing to go after the higher ceiling, more aggressive. And that's just how we did it.
Do recruiting Arenas have anything to do with who her dad is, and think, oh, maybe it's got to be in her DNA, right?
No, we had recruited Arenas out of high school some. So we knew her a little bit. Coach Stacy had recruited her, and then Stacy liked her a lot. We didn't quite have the needs, obviously, with our roster before, because we had our guards returning, right? And so we didn't have the same needs. And then when she became available, that's a player that was on our radar anyways. But, the one thing that I will say that she obviously watched through her youth is just the work ethic that it takes, the time that it takes, because she's in the gym all the time, and she shoots at 5 a.m. and she shoots again later in the day. And the later in the day sometimes is 8 o'clock at night, sometimes it's 5 o'clock. But the morning is very consistent, so she obviously learned that somewhere.
I wanted to ask also about Nasha Clausen, because I was in New Orleans when you added her, and it just wasn't fresh on my radar. I didn't know I really knew much about her when you picked her up, and I think, was she the last ad of the team? How long was that relationship growing? Had that been months in advance?
No, very quick, because we had the need for another player. So, there wasn't many left. And so we knew that it was probably going to be either a surprise or international. So we started talking to people, our contacts overseas, and her name got brought up that this is a player that might have an interest in coming, but she has a unique story. She's been drafted in the WNBA, but she didn't sign. Now, the international rule for WNBA is they can draft them whenever they want to. So a kid like her, she may not even know she's going to be drafted, and she has no intention of coming over. So anyway, so we started that conversation, but we also knew that she would require an NCAA waiver. So we needed an answer quickly because we weren't going to invest the time in. So there were others involved with her. There were other high-level schools involved with her, and I think she just felt good about where we were at. She felt good about I knew some of the people that were helping her make the decision, and I think they just told her, look, they'll follow through on what they're telling you they'll do. That's one of the things I always tell our assistants is, look, we got to follow through, because when we do that, on everything that we say we're going to do, we have to do. All right, because the next recruit, and we owe it to the current recruit, but we also owe it to everybody that we're going to recruit afterwards. And I don't know, they just trusted us, and it worked out, and I think she's got a chance to be a good player for us.
Couple more thoughts.
Yeah.
That's okay, and I'll let you go here. I felt like we haven't talked, not just us, but with the players today. Probably need to talk a little bit more defense, because that was also obvious. I mean, that's a big part of the game as well. Despite what the offense was able to do last year, and that was a lot of fun to watch. But graduate a bunch of players. You also lose some to the transfer portal. You're replacing a player like Zy Walker in her defense. Is there a player that you picked up that you've seen so far that you feel like could be that player that steps up, and is that just that hound on defense?
Yeah, we've got a couple options there. I think Anaya Foy and I think Brandy Harrod. Harrod is ahead of in the mentality, but Foy has made big jumps the last couple weeks, and these are elite athletes. These are both run, jump, and really have recoverability. And so as young players, they've really got a high ceiling here. I think Nastia Clausen's can be a really good defender. She has that length. She's got the motor. She's learning a little more about the American game and how to defend things the way we defend things. It's very different than Europe. Terminology is different. And so she's been a little slower there in some things, but I think we've got good options there. The biggest concern we have, Mitch, we don't have a rim protector like we had last year. So we're going to have to really play better defense on the perimeter. We're going to have to build that wall, because last year if you penetrated our wall of defense, you had to deal with Lee at the back end of it, and we just do not have the same kind of rim protection.
Last thought is actually something you're asked about today, but I'd like to expand on, is the non-conference that you've put together. I mean, personally, I feel like you brought it up another notch.
Yeah.
Because to put it simple, I mean, I think there's just more household, recognizable schools that you're going to play, plus feels like there's a few more road trips in there. I mean, right out of the gate, not long after you open up the season, you're going to SMU.
Yep.
And that's a very fascinating road trip, and, the trip to Cancun. I guess just – putting this non-con together, what was the thought process, especially with this team?
Yeah. If you heard my comments out there, I just have always believed that you don't want the NCAA committee to tell you that the non-conference wasn't tough enough. And, my other Big 12 friends, I need to have a talk with them about some of their non-con schedules, because they're trying to win the Southland Conference in the non-con, and I don't know if there's a trophy for that, but there might be, because we got some that are trying to win it. I'm just never going to if the committee tells us we didn't win enough games, I can live with that. That's on me. That's on us doing a better job. But if I don't schedule well enough to give our players every opportunity to achieve their goals, then that's on us. Katie Falco did a phenomenal job working it, grinding it. There are maybe a challenge or two earlier for this group that you wish were on the back end, but no schedule is going to be perfect. We will have answers. We will be tested, and you're right. There are some road tests at SMU. There's a road test at Creighton. There's a road test at Wisconsin Green Bay. These are all really, really quality teams, as well as you mentioned, the Cancun trip is going to be a really, really tough tournament.
Well, I hope you have enough episodes of your favorite TV show ready to go for that bus down to Tarleton State for your exhibition, and then home opener against
You must have heard that from the players. They're really excited about that bus trip.
Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, Mitch. Thanks.
Man, how cool is it that we can hear that perspective from Coach Mittie in depth about the roster building? That was the most interesting part of that conversation to me, just kind of the ins and outs of what head coaches are looking for in today's NIL era. Super insightful. That was Coach Jeff Mittie of K-State women's basketball here on The Game. Well, when we come back, we're going to have a conversation. Again, Mitch, I say it's been Mitch all day long in Kansas City, Missouri, with the Big 12 women's basketball coordinator of officials, Patty Broderick. That's after these words on News Radio KMAN.
You're in The Game on News Radio KMAN.
At ESB Financial, we think it makes sense to pay you. That's right, get paid 5.04% annual percentage yield on balances up to $20,000 with our free Kasasa Cash checking account. We'll even refund your ATM fees nationwide, and the best part is there's no monthly service charges or minimum balances to keep. All you have to do to earn your rewards are a few simple things each month. The best part? These things make banking easier. Visit esbfinancial.com to learn more. Special terms may apply. ESB Financial, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Scott Seal, candidate for City Commission. If you're like me, you're tired of politicians making promises that sound nice but don't add up, like running for student council promising pop in the drinking fountains. Lately, we've seen candidates and even some city commissioners more focused on appealing to their supporters than making the tough, responsible decisions for our community. I'm not here to play political games. I'm here to solve problems, bring people together, and get things done for our city. Paid for by Scott Seal for City Commission, Cheryl Grice, Treasurer.
At Buck Roofing and Construction, they do more than just roofing and gutters. They also offer a wide range of siding options as well. Whether you are in need of siding, a whole new roof, gutters, or just a repair, Buck Roofing can do it all. Call for a free, no-obligation estimate today, 785-230-9379, or visit ourbuckroofing.com. Buck Roofing, where quality and professionalism come first.
Hi, I'm Leah McKeeman. I grew up in Kansas, where I learned the value of hard work and the difference a great teacher can make. Those lessons inspired me to become a teacher myself, and now, as a K-State professor teaching pre-service educators and a mom of 4, I see every day how education shapes our future. I'm running for the USD 383 School Board to expand learning opportunities, empower teachers, and strengthen communication between families and schools. I'd be honored to earn your vote on or before November 4th. Paid for by Leah for 383, Lacey Deering, Treasurer.
Blueville Nursery's Horticulture Hints radio show comes to your radio every Friday morning at 10 a.m. We will discuss timely gardening and landscape topics to help you keep your lawn and garden in tip-top shape. Blueville Nursery has been your local landscape service and garden store for over 50 years, and we want to share our time-tested techniques with you. From vegetable gardening, spring and summer annuals, to shade trees and lawn care, we'll cover it all. You're welcome to call into the show to ask questions that apply to your own landscape or garden. Stay tuned to Blueville Nursery's Horticulture Hints radio show every Friday at 10 a.m. right here on News Radio KMAN.
Standing at the edge of a rocky shore, you breathe in the cool, salty air, watching the sun disappear on the horizon. Across the globe, someone begins their day along a sandy beach, listening to the rhythm of the crashing waves. You each envision a world beneath the water, vibrant life in every imaginable form. Now, imagine it's all gone. What was once a place of wonder and beauty is now a dull, lifeless wasteland. Food, jobs, medicine, all gifts from the ocean, all gone. Time is running out to protect our oceans. And without our love, everything the oceans provide can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our oceans. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
For area high school scores, recaps, league standings, and coach interviews, check out Scoreboard Saturday at 8 a.m. during football and basketball season, including coverage of the Centennial League, NCKL, Big East League, Flint Hills League, and the Twin Valley League. Scoreboard Saturday on News Radio KMAN is powered by WTC Communications. I'm Cole Dutchendorf with the Game Sports Update brought to you by Bottle Cap Sports Bar. K-State football head coach Chris Kleiman previewed the 123rd Sunflower Showdown at his weekly press conference Monday as the 3-4 Wildcats get ready to head east to face the 4-3 Kansas Jayhawks on Saturday. The year after graduating a large class that saw KU have its 3 best seasons since 2008, the KU offense has still been high-flying, thanks in large part to senior Jalen Daniels at quarterback.
It all starts with Daniels. I've been really, really impressed with him for a number of years now. I have so much respect for how he plays, and you can tell he's the leader of the whole group. He's played really well. The Texas Tech game, that happens, but he stayed in the fight. I think that's the thing that would impress me the most is he stayed in the fight.
The game kicks off at 11 a.m. this Saturday with PowerCat Game Day coverage beginning at 7 on News Radio KMAN, 101.5 KROC, and online at PowerCatGameDay.com. Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark said Tuesday that he is in favor of expanding the NCAA tournament and the college football playoff, though he remains cautious about how exactly 2 of college sports' premier events will look in the future. Big 12 Commissioner believes there is momentum for an expanded football playoff, which has already grown from 4 teams to 12 this past season. Continuing along in hour 2 of the game, I'm Cole Dutchendorf taking you the rest of the way. But again, we're going to take you to another interview that Mitch had in Kansas City. Day 1 of 2 days for Big 12 Media Days. Today, women's basketball. Tomorrow, men's basketball. Have already had conversations with Taryn Sides, Isela Arenas, women's basketball coach Jeff Mittie, and now Mitch sat down with Big 12 women's basketball coordinator of officials, Patty Broderick.
Patty, first of all, I really appreciate your time. So you work with the Big 12. Do you work with any other leagues when it comes to officials?
We do, Mitch. We have a consortium of women's basketball officials with the Big 10, Conference USA, Missouri Valley, Summit League, Horizon League, Mid-American League, and Horizon. So we have 7 Division I conferences in our consortium.
How many officials are in that consortium, in that group, in that pool?
Well, in that pool, there's probably about 400.
Wow.
But I also have a Division II and a Division III league, which kind of elevates the numbers in the on the conference rosters because they have to be assigned geographically. They pay about $200 a game, so you have to make sure that you got officials that don't travel more than 1 or 2 hours to a game, which is different with Division I because they can get in an airplane.
I was talking with John Higgins last year, and he mentioned to me, like, it can be chaos for an official doing 7 games a week, and you're traveling all over the place. Is it the same for women's college basketball? One day there's an official in Manhattan. The next day they could be in Stillwater. Then all of a sudden they're going out to Raleigh, North Carolina.
Well, they generally don't work 7 days in a row, but officials are very knowledgeable of their travel arrangements. I, as an assigner, and John, as an assigner, we don't assign somebody from Pacific Time Coast, West Time Coast, to the Eastern Standard Time Coast. It's just impossible. So as we schedule our games, we have to look at the travel constraints, not only within our consortiums, but within other leagues like the ACC or the SEC or the Atlantic 10 or the Pac-12 or the Big West or whatever. So we look at that and obviously take that has to be in consideration when you're scheduling officials on games. as far as are they going to be able to make it. And we can't have people being on red eyes to do a game at, Arizona and then go and do a game at West Virginia. That's that's impossible. So I don't put names down on the line with that kind of an assignment, and nor does John.
So how long have you been in this position?
Oh, do I have to tell you? Do I really have to tell you?
You don't have to.
I will tell you in June of 2026 will be my 40th year.
Wow.
Yeah, I started out with the Western Collegiate Conference, which I still do, and it's been renamed the Horizon League. So, and then the next year, in 1987, I became the coordinator of the Big Ten. And then the Big 12 came in probably about 10 or 11 years later. So, waited for this day for so long, Mitch. Women's basketball has a microscope on it now, or the stage. And when I started, we didn't, you could count 10 people in the stands, and now, there's 10, 20,000 people in the stands. More people watched the NCAA women's basketball tournament than they did the men's basketball tournament. So, it's the WNBA has done a lot for us, but I will have to say collegiately, if it hadn't been for some of our premier players who have now gone on to the WNBA, the WNBA wouldn't be where it is today without some of those, go-to generational players. And we all know who they are, and we've got much more to come.
So you've seen so many changes just for referees when it comes to rules and how things are officiated. Would you say today it's easier for officials, or what it would have been back in the day?
Well, back in the day where there was 2 officials, you guessed a lot. Now that there's 3 officials, we got to be a little bit more accurate. And I will tell you this: it is a very tough job. Very tough job because now we have 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 14 cameras on a game. We have social media. We have every game televised, whether it's streaming or on the big television stations with ESPN, ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, you name them. So the exposure and the limelight for basketball, for any sport right now, especially in the Division I level, and especially in the Power 4 level, you got to be able to dot your I's and cross your T's. And we have some very professional people who do continuing education. They train, they watch video, they break their games down after every game, they go in the locker room at the halftime, and they have a tablet where they can look at plays where they thought, oh, God, what happened there? They can go back out and tell the coach, hey, you know what, Coach, I missed that play. And, and most of our coaches like that. So, but their technology is as far as training and teaching, is unbelievable. And on the women's side, we embrace that.
Well, it's interesting you say that. That's very cool behind the scenes to know that the officials go to the locker room and check some notes and and look at some plays and see what they did right or wrong. But they don't have that. They have that dialogue with the coaches. They don't have that with the fans. And I think basketball referees probably get the most heat from fans than maybe any other sport, maybe with the exception of a baseball umpire. But for example, block charge. I would assume, if you ask any official, oh yeah, it's an easy call. If you know what you're looking for, you know what you're doing. What do the fans not understand about block charge? What are we typically missing from that rule?
Well, first of all, a fan is got somebody out there on that court that they're a family or friend. And so, it's very hard to be subjective when you're watching your kid or your grandkid or your neighbor or something like that. So you also have to remember that officials, once they make a decision, they have one look at it. Their camera is their head, their brain, and their eyes. And their tripod is their legs. So if they're standing still, you get a clear picture, and we train them where to look, how to see between the offense and the defense. And so they have to make that decision in a split second. They do not have replay. They do not have 14 camera angles. They do not get to sit behind the scenes with a headset on and look at 4 or 5 different camera looks in slow motion, freeze frame, picture by picture by picture by picture. So, fans, I would say that they are out there to do the best job they can do. They train vigilantly. I mean, they are students of the game, and they do not want to make a mistake. They just don't want to make a mistake. And when they do, I mean, it's tough. So sometimes those mistakes can be ugly, but it's not done on purpose. And it's done with what can I learn and how do I move forward from this. So, everybody has a bad day. You just don't want to have a whole bunch of them, and they are going to make mistakes. But the majority of the time, they're in the 90 percentile, they're in the 85 percentile. That's still, kind of a high A or a B+, that's a pretty good grade.
I would take those in school, no doubt about that. So are you working with officials on a daily basis, like to maybe just kind of critique them or work on the game or anything like that?
Yeah, we have a staff, and most of all of our evaluations and observations are done via sitting at home watching the TV, because we can watch 4 or 5 games a day. Now that we have West Coast teams in some of our leagues, we can watch a game at 11 o'clock, we can watch a game at 2, we can watch a game at 4, we can watch a game at 7, we can watch a game at 10 o'clock. So I have a staff of 4 people who, they're graders, and we do call charts and call accuracy and mark down whether it's a correct call, incorrect call, no call correct, no call incorrect. Our toughest plays are not what we put a whistle on, it's what we don't put a whistle on. That's the comments that I get back from coaches, consistency, or the phone calls I might get, or the emails, or the clips that I look at. It's like, come on, this was a train wreck. We didn't have a whistle on it. So, and then you got to look at, are they flopping, or are they exaggerating, or are they being theatrical, and all that kind of stuff. So, there's an art to the game, which is the feel, and understand how plays fit. But there also is part of the science of the game, which is the training, the teaching, the breaking down film, us teaching them in the summertime where to look, where to move. There's certain places where they have court coverage and where they move on the floor and where they're supposed to look, and areas that are covered with 2 officials or 3 officials. So it's a whole lot more than the general public could ever imagine.
One last thought. I saw, this year there's going to be a new rule that officials don't have to tell them to tuck in their jerseys all the time. I've noticed there's been every year there feels like there's little tweaks to the rules every year, every couple of years, and we're still trying to figure some things out. Maybe with the line under the bucket for block charge and things
restricted
like that.
Area.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of, the restricted area. Is there just one rule that comes to mind? You feel like that it's really taken the sport in the right direction, and it's helped the officials out over the years?
Well, I'm going to tell you a funny story about the uniform rule. We did a mini clinic the other day, and the officials usually do a inter-squad scrimmage or some kind of closed scrimmage. And so before we go in, we usually do a little mini interpretation rules. Here's points of emphasis. And so the referee said, the very first rule that you players are going to love is you don't have to tuck your shirts anymore. Oh, they jumped off the bench and hollered and screamed, and hey, high-fived. I thought that was the best rule ever. But I would say the new rule for us this year will be the ball handler dribbler rule with the hand checking, with the hot stove touch. That's gone. So right now you can touch a player multiple times and it not be a hand check. The 3 things you cannot do is leave the hand on, or put an arm bar on them away from the body, or put 2 hands on that at the same time. Those are touch fouls. Those are automatic. But the hot stove touch and then go back on, that's gone. I think that's going to be a major impact on our ball handler dribbler play, and I think that our fans are going to love, because they don't like you calling a foul on somebody that's just being touched.
Yep.
And we didn't either. Referees weren't a fan of it either. So, and referees were never a fan of being a fashion police. So, but we don't. There's no official on the rules committee, on the NCAA rules committee. It's all coaches and administrators. Now, thank goodness we have a coach that is the chair of the NCAA rules committee, Nikki Collin from Baylor. And since she's been on the rules committee, we've had made some major strides on what the game should look like and what is some good changes for women's college basketball, especially at the A4 level.
Patty Broderick, Big 12 coordinator, officials, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for talking with us here at Big 12 Media Days.
Mitch, thanks for having me.
It's the second to last interview we got in store for you. When we come back, K-State forward Nastia Claessens, that's still to come here on The Game.
Your home for K-State sports.
Raymond, quick one, outside, and Nelson breaks away. Jordy Nelson, he needs a block inside the 40. One more, Touchdown, Nelson.
This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
At Stormont Vale Health, high-quality care is right around the corner.
Stormont Vale is more than just a health system. We're your neighbors, dedicated to supporting the well-being of our community and the Flint Hills region. With our strong partnerships, including collaborations with the Mayo Clinic Care Network, other healthcare providers, and various community organizations, we're committed to offering personalized, high-quality care when and where you need it most.
Stormont Vale Health, high-quality care closer to home.
This fall, Roberts Heating and Cooling wants to honor a veteran in need. Nominate your hometown hero, someone who's made a difference as a soldier and in your community. Each Friday, one will be named Hometown Hero of the Week, winning K-State football tickets from Manhattan Broadcasting, an oil change from Briggs, a $50 R.C. McGraw's gift card, and a t-shirt from Roberts Heating and Cooling. Weekly winners qualify for a full Champion Furnace and AC replacement, announced on Veterans Day. Nominate now at 1350kman.com. Just click the Hometown Heroes logo. Brought to you by Roberts Heating and Cooling and News Radio KMAN. Restrictions apply. Homeowners only. Equipment must be installed at primary residence and is not.
Cole Dutchendorf back on the game, and we're going to keep going right along because we don't have much time. So we're going to roll it right to Mitch's conversation with K-State forward Nastia Clausen earlier today at day one of the Big 12 Media Days.
Nastia Clausen, thank you for sitting down with me here at Big 12 Media Days. Just tell me a little bit about yourself. You're a Belgium kid, right? You grew up in Europe. All your life you've lived in Europe?
Yeah. Well, I didn't live all my life in Belgium. Last year I was pro and I played in Spain. That's about it. I lived in Belgium and then last year in Spain. Now I'm here in the U.S.
Okay, so now being with K-State, is this your first trip to the United States? Had you been here before?
No. Never. It was my first trip.
Is Manhattan, Kansas a culture shock?
Well, there have been, like, some culture shocks, I would say, here and there. But, like, mainly it's the same way of living.
Like, let me ask you this. Like, our outlets.
Oh,
for
yeah,
example,
that's different. That is different.
In August, I was in Ireland for the football game against Iowa State. Outlets are way different. Had to get a converter. Are you having to get a whole, like, new chargers and everything for your phone and stuff?
Yeah, well, I was kind of prepared because I knew that the outlet was different. So I bought, like, one that, wait, I have to think so I explain it right. One that, like, fits in the outlet here, but has, like, my own outlet. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I can, like, use all my own chargers from back home, but I have, like, another outlet. I don't know if I explained it really well, but...
No, it makes sense to me. I can do the same for the Ireland trip. So now about your basketball game. You've played at now a national level with Belgium. You've played at a pretty high level. Just tell me about your basketball life, kind of where it started and how you've grown to be where you are today.
I actually don't really remember when I started. I think at the age of like 6, something like that. Both my parents, like I am from a basketball family, and my mother, she was a coach of like a youth team, and she didn't have a babysit for me. So I came to her practices and I just sat there like watching the practice. And then one day I was like, can I please join? She was like, yeah, of course you can. And I joined and I loved the sport and I started playing basketball. And I played almost my whole life for that club where I started it until I was 17. Then I changed clubs. I played as a pro still in Belgium before another club. And last year I played in Spain as a pro. And now I'm here.
If you don't mind the question, what kind of money do you make playing at that level at your age? Is it livable money? Are you making really good money? Or
in Europe, you mean? I would say like for people my own age, it's like it's good money. But I'm not in here for the money, to be honest. For me, it was like just the best opportunity for me and where I think I could grow the best as a person, and that's the team I will choose always.
So how did the relationship with K-State start? Coming to the United States, playing college basketball, and K-State's the choice. How did that get started?
So I had a talk with Coach Mittie before I committed. I had a talk with him. It was a really good talk. I felt really good. We had multiple talks because it was different because I played pro before, and there were some rules where it was going to be a lot of paperwork and a lot of time. And Coach Mittie, he said it would succeed because we weren't even sure if I could come to the United States to play college basketball. But he was sure of it, and he wanted to put all the work in it. That's what we did. I felt really good. We did the whole process. It took a couple of months and a lot of patience, but we got there. I could come to the United States, and I committed before even coming to Kansas State. And then once I arrived in Manhattan, it was, I would say love at first sight is maybe a little bit exaggerated, but I loved it when I came here. The people were so nice. Everything was so good. It's really a college town, which is really nice. The athletes, they treat athletes like royals. So, yeah, they do. Yeah. They really do. So it's been amazing so far.
So playing nationally for Belgium, FIBA Women's Eurobasket, you guys win that. You're now here, and you mentioned you've loved K-State ever since you've arrived. So soon K-State fans will see you in person. I'm sure everybody's excited to see you, but you're one of the last additions to this class. You're a bit of a late addition, and you're here representing K-State after being here for just a short time. So, why do you feel like you've now earned this opportunity based on your game? Tell us about your game and why you're so good at basketball.
Well, I always think it's weird, or difficult to talk about myself and my game.
I'm with you too. Even though I'm not a basketball player.
Yeah, but I don't know. From what people say, I would say I have a pretty high basketball IQ. I see the game. I can pass. I can play outside, but also if it's necessary, I can post up. I can play defense. I would say I can do pretty much everything. I can do everything, but I also need to get better at everything. I don't know if that makes sense.
Makes sense to me, yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that.
Yeah, you just want to get better, work on your game. Are the rules in Europe, are they pretty much the same?
They are,
here?
but there are some rules that are different that we have to adapt to. For example, they call traveling faster than it's in Europe.
Okay.
Yeah. Then there also, when there are free throws, it's 6 people in total, whereas in Europe it's only 5 people. So it's 3 on one side, 2 on the other. So the first time, Coach Mittie, he said, go to the free throw. I was like, but how? I can't. It's only 5 players. He's like, no. In the U.S., you can have 6 players. So it's little things like that are different. But other than that, the main game is obviously the same.
All right, last thought. What are you excited for most when it comes to that first home game? Have the teammates like Taryn told you anything about home games?
The crowd.
You draw a pretty good crowd at K-State.
Yeah, I think the crowd, seeing the fans and how everybody connects. We already played close came.
Oh, the scrimmage?
Yeah,
closed door scrimmage.
Yeah, closed door scrimmages. And I just sat there and I was like, I cannot wait till that the gym is packed and everybody is here and supporting us. So I think that for sure.
Did you feel like you played well in that scrimmage?
Well, it can always go better, but I think for a first scrimmage, it was pretty decent. Yeah.
All right, Nasha. Can't wait for this season to begin. Can't wait to see what you do out there for the Wildcats in purple, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So many great conversations over the course of today's episode. That was the 5th and final conversation that Mitch had today at day 1 of Big 12 Media Days. That was Nastya Klassens, the European forward who's going to be on the K-State women's basketball team this year. Also talked to Taryn Sides and Isela Arenas in hour number 1, and also talked to head coach Jeff Mittie here in hour number 2. You can find all of that on Spotify, anywhere you find your podcasts. We're live on YouTube right now, getting ready to wrap up today's episode. We also talked, Mitch and I, live in hour number 1 about some of the things that Brett Yormark said in his statement today. We're going to have plenty more content for tomorrow. PJ Haggerty, Moby, and I think it's Abdi is the other men's basketball player heading up to Kansas City for tomorrow, so I'm sure we'll have conversations with those three at some point, hopefully hear from Coach Jerome Tang, and then see who else we can get on the horn for another full day of Media Day content. Also, let's not forget, Sunflower Showdown is later this weekend. It's a busy week here at the station. That kickoff is at 11 a.m. PowerCat Game Day coverage beginning at 7 in the morning, and that's on News Radio KMAN. It's on 101.5 K-Rock. It's also online at PowerCatGameDay.com. Well, it's a Tuesday. You say, are there really any sports on tonight? There are. I'm glad you asked. NBA kickoff is tonight, and I'm really excited, yes, for the NBA season to be back, but also for NBA on NBC to be back. Round Rock, I can't remember the exact name of it right now. Mitch is probably mad at me wherever he's listening to this from right now. But I'm very excited to see what kind of coverage they bring. Are we going to see Michael Jordan in studio and get to hear his perspective on today's current era? Who knows? We'll find out. That first game starting in about 30 minutes. Game 2 at 9 o'clock tonight, and I'm going to be watching the Timberwolves starting their season against the Portland Trail Blazers tomorrow. Again, full 2 hours both tomorrow and Thursday. More Big 12 Media Day content with Mitch up in Kansas City tomorrow. We're going to, again, another full show from Kansas City and from right here in the studio. From Mitch up in Kansas City, from me right here in the studio, I'm Cole Dutchendorf. We'll see you tomorrow.
In Manhattan, building community means more than bricks and beams. It means innovation and partnership. At McCown Gordon Construction, we deliver feature-focused solutions to projects that shape our region.